The drive to enhance security in civil aviation across the globe over the decades has remained a journey and not a destination. That's because oversight duties on airlines, aircraft owners, airport authorities, and other players in the air transport value chain is guided by standards and recommended practices prescribed by the global regulator, the International Civil Aviation Organization. Following the recent attack on the Kaduna International Airport, which is the third in a row, players say there is now a need more than ever to protect terminals from attacks. This is the center of our discussion on the program. Plus, 16-year-old Mark Rutherford aims to break 2 world records as he takes to the skies. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'm Bukola Jo Oketumbi, and our flight is set for takeoff.
Aviation has the smallest margin for error amongst other means of transportation, making it the most regulated sector in the world. To ensure that regulations are followed, the International Civil Aviation Organization has laid down standards and recommended practices. Of critical importance to the future of civil aviation, by ICAO Annex 17, is laid out to prevent and suppress all acts of unlawful interference against civil aviation throughout the world. Here in Nigeria, the flagship aerodrome, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, has large numbers of people who pass through every day, presenting potential targets for terrorism and other forms of crime. Because of the number of people located in one place, the airport has its own share of challenges. Last year, an Arik Air aircraft, the Boeing 737-73V, with registration number EIULN, was ransacked by thieves who stole the flight management computer, one of the major subsystems of the flight management system. The FMS is an onboard multi-purpose navigation, performance and aircraft operations computer designed to provide virtual data and operational harmony between closed and open elements associated with a flight from pre-engine start and takeoff to landing and engine shutdown. Before this, Arik Air is said to have filed an occurrence report with the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority on the attempted robbery of its taxiing aircraft by unknown men who encroached the runway at the Lagos airport. According to reports, runway robbers attempting to open the cargo compartment of its taxiing Boeing 737-800 was the second of such failed attempts recorded by the local airline in just 2 weeks. Away from Lagos to Kaduna State, where the Kaduna International Airport is coming under attack for the third time. The terminal is located in Igabi local government area of Kaduna, which is one of the hotspots of banditry in the state. During the attack, a group of bandits killed a security guard attached to the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency.
Security in Nigeria is a systemic issue. So it is not the airport security issue. So it's a systemic issue in the sense that the whole country is being consumed by this menace. And then now it's beginning to proliferate to other areas of the country that are considered sensitive, like the airport. So the recent terrorist incident at the Kaduna airport is such that it's such a very sad development. Security must be beefed up at all our airports, you know, and particularly Kaduna airport, where we had this ugly incident in the past few days. So that has to be done. And I'm sure that that could help or maybe manage the situation as it is.
The airport, which is about 30 kilometers to the city center, has proximity with Nigeria's foremost military training institution, the Nigerian Defense Academy. For a top official of the army, there is no cause to worry, as the airport is safe and secure.
There's no way they would have entered the airport to come and cause problems there, because the insinuation outside is that the airport was attacked and taken over by bandits or terrorists. That's not true. You have seen it for yourself here. This is just the first layer. We have several layers of security inside the airport there. Even the first layer, they did not breach it. And this guy that was killed there, target for them. It's not as if they had an intention to come inside. However, if they have an intention of coming inside, we are not worried about that. We are ready for them. We recovered 2 motorcycles, and then we called on the air, who scrambled a helicopter to engage them. And according to the air reports, about 12 of them were killed. But normally, again, we are waiting for intelligence on the ground there to confirm this.
The security at the airport, according to the military, is a joint operation by the Nigerian Air Force and the ground troops of the army, a collaboration which resulted in the prompt response of troops and killing of 12 bandits.
We have deployed to the airport here the mobile air defense team. They are permanently on the airport, and these are well-trained guys that can respond to such things. Then, in addition to that, the airport is safe. Passengers have nothing, absolutely nothing to worry about.
What about the
general area? The security, since the period the NDA was breached, we have heightened security around this area, and we keep on everyday patrol. That's why the reaction was about 3 minutes, very fast, and that's quite commendable anyway.
Beyond military intervention, what other measures are the state authorities adopting to tackle the security challenges?
In the Kaduna Airport general area, by raising the issue of intelligence gathering. This is part of what we are doing in order to complement efforts that the military and other security agencies are putting in the general area. Security cannot be left in the hands of the military, police, and government alone. It's a two-way traffic. People need to come in, and that is why government is mobilizing communities around the airport general area by way of increasing human intelligence so that we can be able to have an edge over them. And indeed, we have an edge over them.
Safety and security oversight responsibility is that of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, and many ask that how many security breaches must an airport record before a major disaster? Like most sectors, technology drives aviation. State-of-the-art screening and surveillance systems are currently replacing old and epileptic systems in order to improve efficiency and assure satisfactory customer experience. So it's imperative that the airport authority invest heavily in this area in order to enhance the security of flights, crew, and passengers.
The aim of aviation security is to safeguard passengers, crew, ground personnel, general public from acts of unlawful interference with civil aviation. For airports and aircraft operators, this means denying access to aircraft and installations of persons intent upon committing an act of violence, and the prevention of the infiltration of weapons, explosives, and other devices on board the aircraft. In aviation security, there are numerous and varied standards and practices, which one should aim to achieve, but the principal one is that which is indispensable to the fulfillment of others. And this fundamental aim is to establish measures to prevent weapons or other dangerous devices which may be used to commit an act of unlawful interference from being introduced by any means whatsoever on board an aircraft engaged in civil aviation. It is therefore necessary to ensure that airports and airlines comply with international standards of security. According to the view expressed in Airport Council International, June 1966, publication on security, it states that compliance with international standards is the key to improved security. It went further to state that the prevention of acts of unlawful interference against civil aviation is primarily the responsibility of the state. Although airports and airlines play a vital role in maintaining and securing the airport, in spite of the fact that it is the responsibility of the federal government. But we must realize that security has different layers. And these different layers have been delegated to different security agencies by the government. The police is there, SSS is there, custom is there, immigration is there. So these rules, the rules to be played by these different agencies are interwoven, and they are complementary and supplementary to one another. However, while effective compliance with ICAO and S17 is a minimal requirement for effective security, local threat levels may require much more stringent measures. The most secure airports are those who have worked with their regulators to develop practical and effective protection and preventive programs. Standard, therefore, there must be a blend of technology and human resources that matches the need of each individual airport. So what is expected of a balanced aviation security executive to do is to plan ahead, taking into consideration the international political influence and the national level and type of crime. That of all of us is there. And that is why we must begin to see ourselves, particularly we were posted as security agencies to come and support the security program of the airport and part and parcel of the system. A destination or facility can be safe per se, but the probability of risk arising within or outside the destination or facility normally require the adoption of security measures.
Following the recent attack on the Kaduna International Airport, local airlines are considering temporary suspension of flight operations to and through the airport. The operators, who are putting safety ahead of business consideration, said uncertainties in the northern axis of the country have made commercial flight operations most risky. The invasion from the runway end of the airport on Saturday, the 26th of March, was repelled by the military, though it threw the airport in disarray and an Asman airplane was unable to take off due to sporadic gun battle around the aerodrome. Still on airports, but now the Muritala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, where the authorities say they're improving the sanitary conditions of the restrooms in the terminal, following media reports that the restrooms were not conducive for passengers. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria says it has provided more personnel and is ensuring constant cleaning to achieve neatness of the facilities at all times.
It's being used 24 hours. This is 24 hours operations terminal. They use the terminal building almost 24 hours. Taps are being damaged. We are on it every time, making sure that it is clean and the taps are working. We have done that, and if you go around now, you will see that we have done a lot about the toilets. Like if you go there now, you find that you just need to tap it. You tap it and the water comes out for some certain minutes. So you don't need to squeeze the head of the taps. So we keep on doing all those to make sure that passengers have a very lovely time at the airports.
Thank you. Now to Mexico, where 47-year-old Valery Gopenko, instead of enjoying the turquoise seas and white sands at one of Mexico's top beach resorts, is now scoring social media for word of his elderly father, who is missing in the besieged Ukrainian city of Mariupol. Stranded on vacation on Mexico's Caribbean coast when Russia invaded Ukraine, Gopenko has spent more than 3 weeks without hearing from the 72-year-old Vladimir Gopenko. He does know that bombs and shellings have destroyed much of Mariupol, once a city of 400,000 people, thousands of whom are trying to escape. His home was not spared. A photo circulating online shows the multi-story building burnt out.
The first 5 days we were in touch. Now there's fighting near my house. My father's house has been destroyed. I am now trying to send my friends who were able to escape from Mariupol there so that they could take that away. It's been impossible because Mariupol is under constant bombardment. Practically, there's not much left of the city. I hope Dad is still alive and hiding in a bomb shelter. I really hope he is. Yes, I still have no other choice, given that I didn't bring a lot of money here. I can't afford to go back to Europe. Besides, there's nothing left of my Mariupol and nothing to go back to in Ukraine. I tried to get to the US, but I want to do it officially as a refugee through an embassy or consulate, and not like all the people from all over the world who try to reach the United States and are placed in prisons and camps. I want to make it as official as possible. As far as I know, the US has given the citizens of Ukraine an indulgence. That means I can cross the US-Mexico border through many cities instead of only Texas. I hope that the citizens of Ukraine will not be detained, given the war and the bad situation that is happening in our country.
Tents on the ground of the disused Tegel airport in Germany. The airport has become a temporary shelter for Ukrainian refugees and will be able to handle up to 10,000 people, according to German organizations.
We have a lot of families, some of whom arrive with a cat in their arms or a dog on a leash.
We hope to be able to give adequate answers to these people, some of whom are still in shock in their very, very difficult situation. Our hands are stretched out and we are very happy when the Ukrainian war refugees reached out for them to find good solutions together.
It will be used as a hub where arriving Ukrainians are registered before they move to other parts of Germany by bus or train.
We plan a capacity of 10,000 people here at this hub. But this is purely a plan so that if necessary, we can increase numbers. But for now, that capacity of 10,000 has not been reached. At the same time, we offer accommodation for those who stay in Berlin for the first few days when they arrive in the city before they are being distributed elsewhere.
While Ukrainians who are not vaccinated are also expected to get the shot, no one has showed up yet, according to records. As at March the 21st, over 200,000 Ukrainian refugees had arrived in Germany. According to the Interior Ministry, TXL, as Tegel Airport is known to locals, was closed in November 2020 and was used as a COVID vaccination center during the height of the pandemic. Kenya Airways says it expects a 20% rise in revenue this year as it battles to end losses in its passenger business and recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The airline, in which the government has a 48.9% stake, saw revenue plunge by half at the height of the pandemic in 2020 as carriers around the world were forced to ground their planes.
January, February has been a bit challenging, but we truly believe if you look at forward bookings, particularly during the summer, they're very promising. So we hope that this trajectory will improve, will continue this way. If I am to take a good guess, I would think that we would replicate our increase, so it will be another 20% increase to last year. Now, this is conditional on there being no further disruptions and restrictions of travel because of Omicron. It's important. The other one is that we hope that there will be no disruptions because of Kenyan elections, because traditionally we've seen a disruption, a downward trend in terms of visitors. And you know, August, which is when the elections are going to take place, is bang in the middle of our what we call high season.
However, passenger revenue grew by 21% in 2021, helping the airline narrow its loss by a fifth during the first half of last year, but it still lost 11.5 billion shillings, which is about $101 million during the 6 months.
Airlines come together. What are they trying to do? We're trying to create scale so that we overall reduce the unit costs of aviation. That has happened in the US, that has happened in Europe. The problem has been here in Africa. We are busy squabbling and setting up little airlines everywhere. That is not sustainable. It's a good thing, it's a prideful thing to have your own airline, but it's not sustainable. So the thinking behind our relationship, our partnership between us and South African Airways is what we call consolidation, not merger. Because merger means that you come together and form one airline. That's not what we want to do, because we believe there's a place for Kenya Airways and there's a place for South African Airways.
Kenya Airways had slipped into insolvency long before the pandemic, mainly due to an expansion drive that saddled it with hundreds of millions of dollars in debt to finance the purchase of new planes, followed by travel warnings in 2013 due to insecurity in the country. Aviation consultant Sibri was hired last month to advise on returning to profitability, and its report is expected in the next 3 weeks. Country of Ethiopia, where state carrier Ethiopian Airlines has flown the 737 Max with passengers for the first time since the deadly crash of 2019. The airline's resumption of flights on the 737 Max plane has divided opinions, since a crash nearly 3 years ago forced regulators to ground the fleet globally.
The past few days, it has been running a lot of test flights by our flight crew and flight engineers and flight mechanics. After we made sure everything is in order, now we are doing this demonstration public relation flight, a demo flight, so to speak. It is after this that we are availing it to commercial aviation.
In March 2019, a flight to Nairobi crashed in a field 6 minutes after takeoff from Ethiopia's capital Addis Ababa, killing all 157 passengers and crew. The accident followed another, which occurred 5 months earlier when the same model crashed in Indonesia, killing 189 people. The accident exposed a problem with the system on the plane, and the model was grounded worldwide, costing Boeing some $20 billion and triggering court cases that exposed shortcomings with the certification process. Relatives of those killed in the Ethiopian Airlines crash were angered by the decision to resume flying the 737 Max.
Personally, it's a decision that I'll never fly in a Max. And certainly, if I find myself booked into a Max, I'll have to cancel that flight. That is a decision I made, and I know other family members who have made similar decisions across the victims. Yes, because, and I have explained that, it is already an unstable plane. We should not be part of sanctification of something we know is wrong.
Ethiopian Airlines said in a statement that the decision to resume flights on the 737 Max came after intense recertification by multiple regulatory bodies. The East African country is among the last countries to return the 737 Max to service. It is already flying in the United States, Europe, and some other countries.
A flight simulator is a device that artificially recreates aircraft flight and the environment in which it flies for pilot training, design, or other purposes. It includes replicating the equations that govern how aircraft fly, how they react to applications of flight controls, and how the aircraft reacts to external factors such as air density, turbulence, and wind shear. In the East African country of Kenya, a Dash 8 Q400 simulator has been installed to help train pilots. It's a move its main user, Kenya's first low-cost airline, Jambojet, hopes will help it cut costs incurred by flying pilots abroad for training.
So it's Dubai International, the coordinates are correct.
The simulator in operation is based on a 2019 deal between FSI, Kenya Airways, and Jambojet. Kenya Airways is the country's national carrier, while Jambojet is its no-frills subsidiary. FSI is among the world's leading producers of flight simulators.
So do you see where this arrow is?
Chief pilot Michael Kwinga of Kenya low-cost airline Jambojet climbs into a newly operational Flight Safety International Dash 8 400 simulator. After the required checks and under the watchful eye of Flight Inspector Joseph Strong, Kwinga takes off.
As you can tell, if I'm training to go to Dubai International, I can actually do it over here.
Jambojet's new fleet of 5 de Havilland Canada DHC-8 aircraft, known as Dash 8 around the world, are critical parts of the regional airline strategy to recover from the job and pay cuts it had to make as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The blow to African airlines after the COVID-19 outbreak was forecast at $40 million by International Air Transport Association IATA last year. For Jambojet, the equipment is a cost saver. Vast grounds of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, Nigeria, the Reality Full Flight Simulator configured for the AW139 helicopter is installed at Carverton's Training Center. Here at the site acceptance event of the simulator, a French delegate and the Director General of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority take the simulated flight, traveling through the world of technology to Marseille and back to Lagos. The Theos Reality H Full Flight Simulator Level D, which is one of the world's most advanced commercial helicopter simulator, will be used to provide superior scenario-based flight and mission training to AW139 helicopter operators across the African continent, as well as Carverton's pilots and crew. With this simulator, Carverton will deliver state-of-the-art training, including initial type rating, recurrent training, and proficiency checks for both visual flight rules and instrument flight rules, offshore and onshore missions, as well as VIP operations to unprepared landing sites. This simulator will enable pilots become certified to fly the AW139 under various Civil Aviation Authority approvals. With this significant investment and with the support from Theos, a globally renowned company, we believe that the simulator will ultimately benefit our customers and increase accessibility to world-class flight simulation trading.
This is where our flight lands. It's bye for now. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi.